So I don't really have a set plan on what I'm going to be talking about, like specifically, but the central idea is how important it is in life to create a secure sense of self, of your own identity, and creating almost like a fortress around it so nobody can penetrate the walls and make you question who you are as a person. So man, my whole life has been composed of me just hating myself. Whether that is hating my hair, my face, my body, whatever, hating my voice, like all these things, it's like I can probably count on one hand the amount of positive things that I've said about myself throughout my life. And it is just so exhausting to be constantly in a state of like hating on yourself. And like that's just such a sad and miserable life of just hating yourself. But it's more than that. It's like you're going to let other people on the outside tell you who you are and what kind of person you are. And I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but I recently got into a fight with someone and they told me um that I'm a bad person. And I really took that to heart, you know? Nobody's ever said that to me before, and I was like, "Damn. Am I really a bad person?" Like the person who said this to me should know me better than most people, right? And they're saying I'm a bad person. Damn. I really took it to heart and I was like rethinking pretty much every aspect in my life of like, you know, are they right? And I, after a couple days, granted, like I said, I'm in this kind of phase of my life where I am working on self concept and self love of like creating a version of myself that I am proud of, that I created, and that nobody can tear down, right? And so I've been doing a lot of self reflection on this, and I thought about who I am through my eyes. Like, how do I view myself? Not how my mom sees me, not how my sister sees me, not how my boyfriend or my best friend, none of these people. No. How do you see yourself? And I started thinking about it. How do I view myself? And I thought about, you know, all of these attributes and things that I think I am. And I really urge people to make a list. How do you view yourself? You know, maybe you have a bit of a short temper. Owning up to that. Or maybe you know, are a really kind and empathetic person. Write that down and be as honest as possible. Not what people have said about you, but how you view yourself. You know yourself better than anyone on this planet, right? That's why it's so crazy to me that people, like, I am victim to this as well, but we as humans are like, we know ourselves better than anyone on this planet. Nobody knows you better than yourself, and yet we are letting other people let us feel bad about ourselves and tell us who we are. What? I can't. How does that work? And so I was thinking, I'm like, I know myself better than anyone. I made a list and I came to the conclusion that I am not a bad person. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. I use this, and going back to my last video of like forgiveness, I thanked the universe and said a little mental gratitude prayer to the person who said that to me. And I was like, thank you. Like, I wouldn't have been able to start thinking about how I view myself unless you said this really hurtful thing to me. So thank you. Um, and of course, we don't think that in the moment, but later on, I thought about it. It led me down this path of, making me think about who I am, but also of like literally creating a fortress around that list that I made, right? Like writing a list of how you view yourself. And even of like maybe writing a similar list of like what kind of person you want to be, right? Like I'm gonna probably do a whole nother video on self-concept and how you can use that to manifest like everything. But writing a list of the kind of person that you want to be and putting that by your heart, right? And creating a huge fortress, super tall, super big. Nobody can get inside that fortress. Even like the people that you are closest with in life. Nobody can infiltrate that. And that's what's so beautiful about this. And I'm going to get emotional talking about this is like, if you don't have self-love, if you don't view yourself in a beautiful light, then who will? You know yourself better than anyone on the face of this planet. If you don't love yourself, what makes you think someone else will? And that's why it's so easy to let outside influences infiltrate your being and then you let them tell you who you are. And that's why it hurts so bad, because you're not secure with who you are, that anybody can knock you down and tell you who you are. And that's what's so dangerous and scary. And it's so important to do this. Like, so now you've built this fortress, right? Around your self-identity that you have created. Nobody else has created this. You're the only person that can tell you who you are, right? You are alone with yourself. You're with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Like, you are it, right? Even when you're alone, like, you are with yourself. You know how your brain operates. You know what kind of thoughts you have. You know how you speak to yourself and speak to others. You know how you view the world. So why... I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm repeating myself, but only you can make that list. And once you do, and you've built this fortress around it, it takes so much practice. And I'm still in the beginner stages of doing this, but it's like nothing anybody says to you really matters at that point. Even good and bad things. Like if somebody went up to you and was like, "Oh man, you were the nicest person I've ever met." Thank you. Does that change who I am as a person? No. If somebody came up to you and said, "Ugh, God, you were the ugliest person I've ever met." Okay. Like, I don't think I'm ugly. Next, And of course it takes practice, but it's like, it's easier said than done, but it's like I keep repeating myself. I sound like a broken record. But you know yourself better than anyone on the face of this earth. So why are we not taking what we say about ourselves to heart? And I'm not, like, that's why it's so freaking important to rewire how you view yourself and how you talk to yourself, because if you're constantly negative and nagging on yourself, I'm all these horrible things, I'm no stranger to that. I've spent pretty much the majority of my life doing that. And it's like, how can you thrive as a human being if you're constantly putting yourself down? Like, it's just not worth it. Life is too short. And So there's this like whole theory. I don't even know if like it's a theory, but it's more of like a mentality or a mindset that people adopt, and it's called the let them mindset. Oh, it's so amazing. And it fully ties into this whole idea of creating a sense of self that nobody can knock down. And the whole let them theory is like, you know, somebody says something horrible to you, let them. Somebody ghosts you, let them. Somebody wants to pursue you romantically, let them. Like good and bad, all these things. It's like we in life can only control ourselves and how we act and react. So, it is a waste of energy to try and control a situation that is out of our control, but also try to control try to control a person and how they act and react towards us. And it's exhausting. It's just a waste of energy. And so for me, I'm going to use my personal example, and you can apply this in your life. This person who should know me really, really well said that I'm a bad person. Let them. I let them, okay? And I love this, like, I've also been adopting this thing of, like, okay. Like, that's my version of the let them theory, is just the okay theory. Like, okay. I know I'm not a bad person, so why would you say that? Like, okay. You don't even need to ask why. It doesn't even matter. It's just, okay, that's weird. So it's just, to wrap this up, it's like, man, it is essential to create a sense of self and a sense of identity that you fully believe in. You can freaking believe in it like you do God. Create this identity of yourself, how you view yourself, how you want to be, and let that be your religion. Believe in it the way you do with God. I believe in this version of myself so much that nobody can say anything to me that's gonna make me open the door and be like, oh God, I'm doubting myself now. No! Because I know who I am. And it doesn't matter what people say to me, because they don't know me like I do, right? Like, so that is the gist of this, of how absolutely vital and important it is to create this sense of identity and how you view yourself. This idea of self-concept too, like, I really want to do an in-depth kind of dive into this, but even if, like, let's say somebody says something to you and it makes you think, like, for me, somebody said that to me and I was like, am I a bad person? Maybe, somebody says a super specific thing of, like, I'll give you another personal example. Is I recently, somebody told me, like, oh, this is not like a negative or bad thing that you do, but I've just noticed that sometimes in situations you just, like, shut down. And I was like, I do? And then they gave me specific examples and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I did that. I guess it's just when I get really overstimulated, I need to just, like, be in a quiet spot and be by myself to kind of recharge. And I didn't realize I did that. And so I was like, thank you for bringing that to my attention. So moments like that where, and maybe, the list that you've created of yourself, of, like, the person that you are, maybe there's a couple things on there that you are not totally crazy about. Like, maybe you have a short temper. Maybe, you are shy, which is not a bad thing, but maybe there's just some things on there that you want to change, right? That's the idea of self-concept and how it comes into play. I love self-concept, of creating a list of the person that you want to be. Like, what is the ideal version of yourself? Who are they? And this is so beautiful, of, like, going on Pinterest and creating a board of, like, who this person is, And then fully believing that you can become that person, and every day making decisions, asking yourself, what would that person do right now? Like for me, setting my alarm early to go to the gym. I'm in bed and I wake up. No, I want to go back to sleep. Would the ideal version of myself go back to sleep, or would she wake up and go to the gym? She would wake up and go to the gym. So then I wake up and go to the gym. So things like that, it's like having these moments of like, who is the ideal version of myself and how do I get there? And making those decisions every single day. So that is kind of the whole gist of everything I wanted to like talk about today, because it's just been something I've been thinking about. It's been on my mind, and it is so powerful to reach that point in life. And again, it's a practice. Nothing in life you're instantly good at, right? It's something that you need to work on every single day. But when you put in the effort to love yourself unconditionally and believing in who you are down to your core, nobody, and I mean nobody, can take that away from you. And that is the most beautiful thing about being human. And it is so worth it to get to that point and working on it every single day. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. And yeah, thank you.